I am trying really, really hard to feel bad for Kaitlan Collins. Katie Roo! Katie Roo! I am trying to have a little bit of sympathy for my Roo, but she just makes it so difficult. To be honest with you, Kaitlan Collins would be better served if she was sitting next to the Yentas on The View. I know she doesn't meet the age criteria to be on The View. As you guys know, in order to qualify to be a Yenta, you got to be at least 65 years old and either be experienced in the fine art of facial reconstruction or be a professional flatulator like the whoopee cushion. The reason I want to feel bad for Katie Roo, she is being set up for huge embarrassing failure. Hell, at this point, she's no longer being set up. She has officially reached qualification status for the upcoming Hef Awards. The good news, though, for Katie Roo, her ratings have seen a modest increase since she debuted with 540,000 viewers earlier this month. And when I say modest increase, I mean she successfully went from nothing to almost nothing. Since we talked about Kaitlan Collins last week, her audience has grown by about 30,000 viewers. Well, I mean, that's just great, right? This woman is on the fast track to success. If this were a primetime cable news contest based on appearance, Kaitlan Collins would be the easy winner. She's young, she's beautiful, she's going head-to-head in a makeup battle with Sean Hannity. Poor guy. Sean Hannity. Poor Sean Hannity. He just can't seem to get the makeup thing figured out. And Katie Roo, she would be battling someone named Alex the Cucumber Wagner. Unfortunately for the Roo, this is not a beauty competition. This is a contest to see who can draw the biggest audience. In order to draw an audience, you got to be charismatic and you have to be relatable. Kaitlan Collins is neither. Over the last week, Alex Wagner has consistently beaten Kaitlan Collins by over 1 million viewers. Well, what about Rachel Maddow? Forget about it. Rachel Maddow draws 4 times the audience of Kaitlan Collins. Same goes with Sean Hannity. When you're trying to make a name for yourself in primetime cable news, you have got to seize the opportunities that you're given. In live television, you just never know when these opportunities will present themselves. You got to be ready. Last night, Kaitlan Collins wasn't ready. She either wasn't ready or she was too afraid to speak up, or she's being handcuffed by her bosses at CNN. My guess is it's a combination of all three. The focus of CNN last night was on Jason Aldean and mythical racism. You know, this right here, this is the problem with cable news. This is what I call a distraction story. There are so many actually important issues going on right now. The potential for American boots on the ground in Ukraine. The White House allegedly mishandling the investigation into how Snow White made her way into the White House. Yet for some reason, CNN thought Jason Aldean and mythical racism was one of the most important stories of the day. No wonder people are turning off cable news. The woke media is pretending that this song is dangerous. This could incite violence. This song is dangerous. Get this redneck off my TV. But when pride paraders were screaming in the streets of New York City that they were coming for the minds of your children, that wasn't dangerous. No. That was progress. Last night, Kaitlan Collins invited Tennessee State Representative Justin Jones onto her show that nobody is watching to discuss this dangerous lyrical rhetoric from Jason Aldean. Casey, what the hell does some doofus Tennessee lawmaker have to do with Jason Aldean? I was wondering the same thing. I didn't understand the logic here, but luckily, I had the services of my woke hat to help me get a better understanding here. What do I look like here? Okay. Tennessee lawmaker Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones and me preach mythical racism very well. Mr. Jones is an expert on mythical racism. You see, this music video by Jason Aldean, it was filmed at the site of a lynching that happened in 1927, almost 100 years ago. Justin Jones, he's from Tennessee. Video filmed filmed in Tennessee. Therefore, according to woke logic, this would make Justin Jones an expert on the issue. Mr. Jones and Katie Rue, they engaged in a spirited debate about this dangerous, dangerous song by Jason Aldean. And when I say engaged in a spirited debate, I mean they produced one of the most painfully boring segments in cable news by agreeing with each other, never pointing out falsehoods and propaganda, and ending the segment with a nice, pleasurable woke hug. Watch it for yourself.
Joining me now tonight is Tennessee State Representative Justin Jones. Jason Aldean, as I noted, is defending this video, but I wonder what your reaction was when you heard the song and saw the video.
Yes, well, thank you so much again for having me, Caitlin. As a Tennessee lawmaker, as the youngest black lawmaker in our state, I felt like we had an obligation and a duty to condemn this heinous, vile, racist song that is really about harkening back to days past. There's no accident that he filmed this in the site of the Murray County Courthouse where the race riot happened, and where as well as the 1927 lynching of a young man who was 18 years old, Henry Cho, occurred. This song is about normalizing racist violence, vigilantism, and white nationalism. And it's about glorifying a South that we are moving forward from and that we're trying to move forward from here in Tennessee.
And Aldean, obviously, he didn't write the song, but clearly sings it. And you know, for some of the lyrics, we were looking at them earlier. One of them is cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag, and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough. We'll try that in a small town. Are those the lyrics that you're referencing?
Those lyrics and the lyric that says, see how far you make it down the road. I mean, this is a lynching anthem. It's an anthem that reminds me of the stories of young men like Trayvon Martin, of Ralph Yarl, young men, Ahmaud Arbery, who were killed by white vigilantes.
Kaitlan Collins missed a golden opportunity here. I'm not saying this would have automatically turned her into a superstar, but she definitely missed an opportunity to get noticed because right now, no one's paying attention to her. This should have been so simple. And look, she didn't have to be combative. She didn't have to turn this into a screaming match like Bill O'Reilly used to do on Fox News. All Kaitlan Collins had to do was give a little bit of resistance, give a little pushback against the obvious bullshit. This would have gotten her noticed at CNN because no one else at the network is doing this. Unless, of course, the rare instance where someone like Andy Cooper has someone on that's associated with Donald Trump. Orange Man bad. For starters, Justin Jones, he tries to tie in Trayvon Martin to this song by Jason Aldean. What the hell does Trayvon Martin have to do with this song? Not only that, he claims Trayvon Martin was killed by white vigilantes. I know it's been over a decade. That happened back in 2012. But wasn't Trayvon Martin attacked by George Zimmerman? Wasn't George Zimmerman's mother Afro-Peruvian? I mean, I know his father was white, but are we now considering this to be Caucasian? If that's the case, does that mean Barack Obama is white? All Kaitlan Collins had to say was, how does this song remind you of Trayvon Martin? Justin Jones, his response probably would have been something like, well, it speaks of white vigilantes targeting minorities. At this point, you show Jason Aldean's video showing actual white vigilantes rioting for Black Lives Matter. Mr. Jones, are these the white vigilantes that you're talking about? Where in the song does Jason Aldean condone lynching? Where in the song does he advocate for gun violence? Where in the song is race mentioned once? You see where I'm going here? This is not all that difficult. You ask real questions, and you don't let these doofus politicians give you bullshit answers. I know this is possible because I just witnessed it happen last weekend. Matter of fact, I know it's possible with Kaitlan Collins because she used to press Donald Trump all the time when she was a correspondent for the White House. All of a sudden, she is a fellow member of Woke United Methodist on the source of failure, and her mouth suddenly stops working. Last weekend, The Blaze, they hosted a summit for Republican presidential candidates. Tucker Carlson was tapped as the host. He interviewed each candidate one-on-one. The only one who didn't attend was Donald Trump. I don't know the reason why, but anyway, Tucker Carlson, he was asking these candidates real questions. This wasn't one of those puff interviews that you see on Fox News or CNN. He wasn't asking softball questions like we just saw with Kaitlan Collins. Mr. Jones, what is your reaction to this dangerous Jason Aldean video? Oh, tough question, Katie Rue. In the span of about 30 minutes, Tucker Carlson ended the campaign of Mike Pence. He was pressing him on his support for Ukraine while American cities are experiencing record high crime rates and Americans are seeing record inflation. Mike Pence, he wants to keep sending money to Ukraine while we can't even take care of ourselves here at home. You know what Mike Pence said? America's not my concern. Oh, yeah. Campaign over. I encourage you to watch it for yourself. You can find it on the Blaze channel here on YouTube. But overall, this summit hosted by the Blaze, watched by over 10 million people. Why do you think that is? Because it was real, it was authentic. They were talking about issues that actually matter. Now contrast that with what we just saw from Kaitlan Collins and CNN, wasting valuable primetime real estate to discuss mythical racism in a country music song. Does Jason Aldean have any impact whatsoever on your day-to-day life? And if you're going to talk about this and you're going to bring on a guest that is fighting the good fight against mythical racism, you can at least ask him real questions. Instead, Kaitlan Collins just sat there and let this dude push divisive propaganda. This is why people are not watching CNN. Hell, this is why people are turning off legacy media altogether. I don't think there has ever been a wider disconnect between normal people and the mainstream media. Normal people aren't outraged with Jason Aldean. People like Kaitlan Collins want you to believe there's outrage, but the only outrage, the only triggered emotions are sitting in luxury offices owned by media conglomerates. Kaitlan Collins knows better. She knows what Jason Aldean was saying in his song. Katie Rue is from small town Alabama. She grew up in Prattville, population 37,000. She knows exactly what Jason Aldean was really talking about. But because she's cashing woke welfare checks from CNN, she's got to pretend it's mythical racism. This is why, even though I want to feel bad for Kaitlan Collins, I don't. Katie Rue is the sacrificial lamb at CNN. They put an inexperienced young woman in the flagship time slot in prime time and told her to save the network. It ain't gonna happen. And it's not going to happen because Kaitlan Collins isn't real. She's not authentic. I understand that her voice is probably muzzled. I'm sure her bosses at CNN are directing her to push a certain narrative. But is it really worth it? Is it really worth the money to sacrifice your integrity? Is it really worth the money to be the sacrificial lamb on a cable news network that is struggling, barely clinging to relevancy? The thing is, this is what Kaitlan Collins wanted. She wanted to be the centerpiece. She wanted to be the star. She wanted the spotlight. Now, this is just speculation, but I think Katie Rue was instrumental in getting Donnie and his lemons fired. She was Chris the Bongo Licker's golden child, our savior in prime time. Katie Rue got exactly what she wanted, but that spotlight is dim, that star far from shining bright. There are more people watching reruns of a talking sponge on Nickelodeon than watching Katie Rue on CNN. This show's a disaster. I mean, this is a disaster, but give me your thoughts. Kaitlan Collins continues down the path of huge embarrassing failure. Her ratings, atrocious. This interview with Justin Jones, even worse. I mean, that was absolutely abysmal. Horribly, horribly boring television. Do you think Kaitlan Collins is being handcuffed by her bosses at CNN? Do you think she really believes that this song from Jason Aldean incites violence? Or is Kaitlan Collins just another paid mouthpiece in the mainstream media? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe. I appreciate all you guys and your continued support each and every day. If you come across something you want covered here on the channel, shoot me an email, btlkc84@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter at kc_btl84. I'll see you guys later.